I talked to a fireman once. This is one of the reasons it freaked me out. And he was telling me, he goes, dude, one day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and fire's going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean. And there's not a fucking thing we can do about it. I go, really? He goes, yeah, we just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. Because these fires are so big, dude. When they're talking about like thousands of acres that are burning simultaneously with like 40-mile-an-hour winds. And the wind's just blowing embers through the air, and those embers are landing on roofs, and those houses are going up, and they're landing on bushes, and those bushes are going up, and everything's dry. And once it happens in a way where it's so spread out that there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do.
You just have to evacuate, right?
Nothing they can do.
My mom's up there, and I don't know if she's okay or not.
Yeah, did you go to call one of the firefighters?
What do you call it? Every which they're helping so many people.
That's your entire life. You don't get that back. The memories are gone. I hope they're alive.
It is like driving through hell itself down here. Literally through hell.
And all of this is what is behind this dire reality for thousands of LA residents, forced to flee their homes, which were torched in a matter of hours. Many houses in this area belong to the rich and famous, but are now in tatters. Californians are used to wildfires in summer. Now, even in winter, they will have to prepare for the worst.
The fire department bulldozer had to push dozens of the abandoned vehicles out of the way.
This is Sunset Boulevard, right in the heart of Pacific Palisades. And all of these cars, including us at one point, were stuck in this gridlock. And in order for firefighters to actually get to the fires, they had to carve a path. And so a bulldozer literally shoved all of these cars to the side. You can see the bumpers ripped off, the scratches along the vehicles here.
A second fire then breaking out about 30 miles away in the hills above Pasadena.
Sounds like a train.
I mean, Jose, the only word that comes to mind truly here, and we're on the Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu, is apocalyptic.
It'll be manageable so we don't have catastrophic losses.
Yeah, this is a very cultural place. It's a cultural compound. It's sort of perched high on that hilltop, very dry. We just saw pictures then of the flames almost reaching that compound. There's high winds predicted again today. What's in store, do you think? Are you ready? And how scary is this situation as a whole, really?
It's scary. These winds are really quite something else right now, and it's also the very low humidity, something that we just really don't see these kinds of levels of kind of risk at this point. But we're prepared.
The fire hitting some of California's most famed areas, home to iconic houses and sites and many celebrities. Chris Pratt posting overnight, please send prayers and strength to those affected. James Woods posting this video of the fires approaching his home. Beloved actor Steve Guttenberg among those stepping up to help his neighbors.
When things like this occur, you really realize how vulnerable you are and how important community is.
And the Getty Villa Museum is confirming that its grounds also caught fire. Fire officials say trees and brush were on fire there and flames approaching structures. The museum says the villa and its art so far has been spared. Now, this is home to tens of thousands of priceless antiques, including Roman, Greek relics dating back to 6500 BC.
Contributor Leslie Marshall, she shot this video of her Pacific Palisades neighborhood before she and her family were forced to evacuate their home.
I got to tell you, I have never seen winds sustained in the direction that they're going for this amount of time. It's been 24 hours and still you can see the flags around here. This wind is blowing this way towards the ocean, bringing the fire down the hill. And actually last night it jumped over PCH, Pacific Coast Highway. We're in the Gladstone's parking lot here, and the Baywatch lifeguard stands were burned, and some of the homes along PCH this way were burned on the water side. So this is a fire of an intensity that we have not seen in a generation in this area.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
No, this is definitely a first for me. I've been in several fires, and recently the Franklin and the Mountain Fire here in Franklin, mainly here in this area, and I've never seen anything like this. the situation and the winds are extreme, and the conditions continue to worsen for the firefighters out there and also for the community.
We grew up here, so this is amazing.
I've never seen this. It's
This is
just
the first for us. I
Yeah.
mean, we grew up with fire in the Palisades, but this
not
is
like
not
this.
anything like this.
Never thought these streets would
These
burn.
streets-
All right, Drive 5 activated right now. We are on PCH along Temescal Canyon. We are actually just north of Temescal Canyon now, driving along the PCH, and you can see we've got flames on either side of us, just small flames, and then up ahead on the hillside, it appears that there are larger flames. So we'll hang out in this area for a while, check it out, and report back to you. But for now, we're live along PCH. I'm Sandra Mitchell, Court and Rick. Back to you guys.
Sandy, are you headed up to Malibu, or how are you just going to see how far you can get? Like, look at all that debris that's going to be in the middle of the road.
That is a power line. That was a huge utility pole or telephone pole that had been knocked down. All night we've been seeing huge trees across the roads and the streets, but that was the first time I've actually seen a utility pole that was knocked down by the winds.
Fire chiefs say low humidity, dry soils and high wind make the fire conditions about as bad as it gets. As for climate change, scientists need time to assess exactly what role it played, but broadly speaking, we know it is upping the danger in the US, driving hot and dry conditions that fuel fires like this. And it's extending the fire season, which usually ends around October. Southern California just had a particularly hot summer and almost no rain in what should now be the wet season. This map shows rainfall over the last 60 days compared to the average for that period. The bits in brown around Los Angeles, they've had hardly any rain. And all of this is what is behind this dire reality for thousands of LA residents, forced to flee their homes, which were torched in a matter of hours.
A lot of the devastation that's going on over there. This has been a dramatic fire. Mother Nature has been the star of the show and has made it really challenging for us to fight this fire. Those wind gusts last night that usually lay down after the sun goes down amplified and doubled. I sat out there at the Palisades fire all night and watched those winds whip up to 70, 80, even 100 miles an hour as it scorched that hillside and created 300 to 200 flame lengths. It was dramatic and apocalyptic.
You know, tell me about the resources, the people, the water, because we always hear about preparation and whether or not there is enough water that has been protected for these kinds of firefights.
Yeah, so, there's all different water systems that help take care of us in our residential areas. This area has got water tanks, and they've got 3 million gallon water tanks. And so these are not made for 15-hour firefights that use, everybody's using the water. They're just not designed for that. They're designed for residential use, not wildland firefighting. So they did an incredible job trying to get it back online. So they really worked hard for that. The other thing that kind of went against us is that we weren't able to have our air support to help once the winds got too strong. So a lot of the air support and the water that comes from up above, we relied on the groundwater too. So working with that and really figuring out that balance is where we're at.
So when do you anticipate that you might be able to get firefighters up into the air, because that's such a powerful capability in this kind of situation?
Yeah, that just depends on the sustained gusts. That needs to be below 40 miles an hour, I think, is the tipping point. So we're just waiting on, again, Mother Nature to cooperate.
Hi. Just be okay. You're gonna be okay. Hi. You're gonna be okay.
When I was driving to the command post, it really looked like an apocalypse.
It's beyond anything I think any of us could have ever imagined. It looks like we're in a third world country.
100-mile-per-hour wind gusts, hurricane-force winds, unleashing fires across Southern California at this hour. These are the images coming in right now. Authorities are calling this a, quote, particularly dangerous situation.
Straight to that major emergency unfolding in Los Angeles right now. As we go to air, 4 major fires are surrounding the city and raging out of control. Harrowing images show the apocalyptic blaze. Near Malibu, residents filming as fire engulfs their home.
You're gonna be okay.
Welcome to the park. Incredible pictures, aren't they? Hurricane strength winds are fanning the blaze.
You couldn't see. There was spot fires everywhere. There was trees coming down literally as we were driving, and multiple houses on fire. Definitely the worst brush fire and worst incident that Pasadena has seen in its history.
Absolute catastrophe in Southern California, being described by people there as just hell on earth.
This is the view from a airplane as from KTLA photographer Paul Sanchez as he's giving us an aerial perspective to the devastation in the Palisades. Sky 5 unable to fly due to a temporary flight restriction put in place because President Biden is in town. But this is an incredible view of what it looks like from above.
First, how would you describe what is happening in your city this morning?
It is absolutely cataclysmic. It is terrifying. It is bigger than anything we've ever seen. And we live in fire country. We're used to having fires every year, particularly since the onset of climate change. But what we see today, 3 full-scale fires and 2 smaller fires all at once in Southern California is one of the most outlandish things that we've seen with regard to fire.
It is like driving through hell itself down here. Literally through hell.
The fire is growing. We have no percentage of containment.
Brother, you good? Okay.
See how the wind just pushes those embers, and those embers are from another fire, not from the one that we're seeing here.
When they ask you to evacuate, evacuate. This is not a drill.
This wildfire, we talk about how quickly the whole thing blew up. Take a look at this incredible time-lapse video from Alert, California and the UC San Diego. This was taken from a building on Wilshire Boulevard. Look what happens there. Time-lapse video as that fire suddenly sets the entire hillside ablaze. Sandra, that's what happens when you have up to 100-mile-an-hour winds fueling this. It's like a jet engine that's igniting these flames and spreading them all over. The way that fire blew up that quickly and literally doubled in size in an hour is just remarkable.
Yeah, which is why the sheriff right now, they're still in survival mode, but they're prioritizing life over everything else, his own words. This is 0% contained at this point, and that is how fast it spread. And we just had the weather report from Adam Klotz. I mean, we've got dry weather, wind gusts, which are going to continue, we are told, for days, John, which is only going to make matters worse before anything can start to turn a corner.
You know, when you see this on time lapse, it shows you just how quickly these things blow up, which is why, again, it's so imperative for people who are in these evacuation areas to get out. Look at that. Just the entire hill just erupts on the right-hand side of your screen there. Remarkable.
Praying for everyone in these fires' path is just absolute destruction right now. We'll keep following it, John.
This was going viral to all over the place. Look at this video. So this was a guy who didn't heed the warning, stayed behind.
I've seen
and
this.
Look at what happened here. I mean, to be surrounded by flames in all direction with your dog there. So this is not what you want to have happen. So as you know,
do we have an update of what happened to?
I mean, if he was able to post the video, I hope he ended up being okay. I hope he was able to get out, but I don't have an exact update on what exactly happened.
And this is one of many just heartbreaking visuals that have developed since the Pacific Palisades fire broke out.
Right.
And this is a prime example of why you should leave when they tell you to.
Yeah, it's not a joke. They're not saying it just to say it, and it also it's very selfish, frankly, to stay behind because you're putting potentially firefighters' lives on the line to try to save you, and getting in the way of their ability to save property or do other things. So you know, there's a reason why these statements are made.
We will have more in terms of an aerial perspective, we believe, tomorrow once the sun comes up and we begin to get a good measure of the level of devastation here. But if you've been watching the coverage, you can deduce, frankly, dozens and dozens and dozens of homes in the Palisades area have been lost. The Palisades Village under siege tonight, homes along PCH, along the beach, gone as well. One of two communities under siege tonight. Altadena struggling as well, as we saw moments ago. Entire neighborhoods burning, rows and rows of homes from a fire that is spread out of Eaton Canyon into the neighborhoods of Altadena.
Heidi Montag and husband Spencer Pratt have lost their home to the fire, according to TMZ. Actor James Woods posting this video of flames near his home.
We've got a lot of planes going over, dropping water, but...
And actor Josh Gad posting this video of the view from his home.
Seen flames from my house like this ever.
The fire erupting in the Pacific Palisade foothills west of Los Angeles around 10:30 local time. Fire trucks racing to the scene, aircraft attacking it from above.
We threw everything we had at it really quick. We knew that if we didn't get it in 20 minutes, it would go to hundreds of acres.
But those efforts, no match for those devastating Santa Ana winds.
Just in the past couple of seconds since we've been here, this fire has crested this little hill we're on. The entire basin here is engulfed in flames.
Catastrophic wildfires raging across Southern California at this hour, killing 2 people so far, destroying hundreds of homes and businesses and forcing mass evacuations. Wind gusts up to 100 miles an hour are whipping flames through highly populated neighborhoods as officials warn the worst could be yet to come.